Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Corradino, and I wanted to invite you to a special live webinar May 11th at Healhty Seminars on Neuropuncture, the only complete neuroscience acupuncture system, and how to effectively treat neurodegenerative diseases. May 11th, Saturday, live on Healhty Seminars. So, what is Qi? Okay, so we talk about Qi, and I think that this is a common question that we may have, or a common conversation we may have with our patients. I was on a panel last year on a medical conference, a Chinese medicine conference, and the name of the panel was, or the title was, "What is Qi?" And there was all different understandings of it, right? We know classically it was understood as a form of energy, right? Some people say that it's the equal sign on the equals mc squared, right? From Einstein's equation, that it's energy on the convergence of matter. Okay, I think that's very prolific and very pretty. Some people say it's the breath, right? It's the inhalation just before the exhalation. We do all agree that it's a life force, okay, that animates the human body, okay? We can also then take that, and there's been understandings that it's bioelectricity. Some say it's nerve impulses, okay? It's the action potentials that are being seen throughout the body. We can all agree that it's a force of nature and that it's a natural force. So if it's a force of nature and it's a natural force, okay, what do we have today that gives us a greater understanding of the forces of nature? Okay, and I look at physics, and there are 4 fundamental forces of nature that can explain all nature's phenomenon to date. It gives us the ability to have this webinar right now, right? And cell phones, okay? And every other wonderful technological advance that we have. And it doesn't change. We may have interruptions in certain, frequencies here or there, but the math is there, right? And it consistently works for a reason, because it's reproducible, okay? Now, those 4 fundamental forces are the weak and strong nuclear force. Those are basically the forces that hold the atom together on a molecular level, subatomic level. Gravity, okay? And then electromagnetism. Now, I think Qi can actually fit in all of those depending on the context that we're looking and that Qi is being placed in, okay? The unified field theory was one of Michio Kaku, was an astrophysicist and a cosmologist. He's a brilliant speaker on physics. He was one of the co-founders of the string theory. And I think that is now an evolution of physics. And we're starting to understand that that has a connection to Qi as well. That is the Qi that underlines and connects us to everything, okay? Connects us to every living and non-living object and entity in the universe. Now, if we go a little further, in the classics, they talk about Tian Qi, right? Tu Qi, right? Heavenly Qi, Earth Qi. If you look at universal Qi, we might say that, what they were seeing was, what they were observing was string theory, okay? They just didn't put the words in it because they didn't have the correct mathematics. They didn't have the vocabulary that we have today, okay? If we look at heavenly Qi, okay, Tian Qi, okay, they always report in the classics that it's important for us to be outside, right? And that the reasons why humans got sick, in the Huangdi Neijing it speaks about this, because we've lost our paths to living healthy. We've detached ourselves from nature, okay? That's important for us to go outside. And we now know nowadays that, that solar radiation, right, comes from the sun. It takes 100,000 years for actually one of the photons to leave the sun's surface and to reach the atmosphere crust of the sun. We know that through mathematics now. And when it gets to us, what does it do to the human body? Stimulates the human skin with receptors and mixes and stimulates with cholesterol to produce vitamin D. right, to synthesize vitamin D. It's important for us to get out in the sun about 20 minutes a day, okay? And again, this is something that for thousands of years our ancestors have been telling us. But today we can now look at those contexts and get a better understanding and a firmer understanding of what's actually going on and how to really harness that energy. Earth chi, tu chi, right? We know that the Earth's core is liquid iron, right? And it's molten in, it's moving. And as it moves, it kicks out these electrons, and that causes the north and south poles, right? And we know that there's a technique called grounding or earthing. It's been on Dr. Oz in America, that it's illustrated that it increases blood flow, it reduces viscosity of the blood, it reduces inflammation, and that standing on the earth 20 minutes a day helps to get those health benefits. And that in the 1800s, when rubber got put on the soles of our shoes, it started to insulate us from the earth. Some believe that's what was starting to manifest in some of the diseases that our patients suffer from. So going outdoors and standing on the earth, walking on the grass, okay, getting your toes and gripping the ground with your toes is very important. It actually shows health benefits now, and we can measure those health benefits. And there's been scientific studies on those health benefits of just standing on the earth. So then quickly, when we talk about chi in the human body, because that's what's important in clinical settings, I look at electromagnetism, okay? Human chi, we know that chi leads the blood in Chinese medicine. We know that blood has an electromagnetic charge. Qigong practitioners can, through concentration and relaxation, vasodilate blood capillaries in their palms, and it actually creates an electromagnetic field in their palms. So we know that that occurs. The brain is electrical circuits, like a CPU, right? The human heart, every time it contracts, creates a large electromagnetic field of about 10 yards in radius, and that's what sharks look for in the water. And then we look at Guqi or Zongqi. We can look at Guqi as the enzymatic reactions of digestion, and Zongqi was maybe what they see as the respiratory reaction and metabolism and cardiac contractions and blood circulating throughout the body. And so when we look at Qi, that's what I look at, okay? And I think that that's a measurable force now. We can actually really look at, measure, and determine now. So now let's look at the nervous system, okay? So China's been doing this for many years. I think they kept that quiet for a reason, right? It's the Chinese, right? The art of war, keep things secret, but now it's kind of leaked out, okay? And I think acupuncture has a lot of roots in neuroscience. So when we look at the nervous system, basically we have these wonderful small little nerves, these nociceptive nerves, the afferent nerves, okay? And they spread all through all of our areas of our skin, muscle, tendon, bone, visceral organs, hair, skin, and nails, okay? And they receive messages and signals, and they send them back to larger nerves, okay? And on the chart here, we have the median, and the ulnar nerve of the arm, okay? So those little fibers would reach back to those larger nerves, and they would go conduct their signals and their messages towards the center of the body. Those larger nerve groups, they mesh in with plexuses, right? And we have the brachial plexus right here, which is C5 to T1. And then we have the lumbar sacral plexus there, which is L4 to S4, okay? And we see all that goes in from those little nerves to the big, larger nerves to the plexuses. Where do they go? We know where they're going to go. They're going to go to the central nervous system. And what we see here is that those plexuses are going to enter the spinal cord at different segments, and then they're going to translate and go up into the brain, okay?